Hello and welcome to Freeloaders. This is part 4 of the free theme design tutorial. And in this part we're going to do the HTML. And I'm going to breeze through this real quick, but you know, you can pause and all that fun stuff. So basically I'm going to be using Dreamweaver for this, the coding. Now if you don't have it, it's not a big deal. There's a lot of free alternatives available for writing out code. You can even use Notepad, so it's not a big deal. It's just typing text. Okay, so I'm going to be switching back and forth between this, the layout, and Dreamweaver, and I'll just explain as we go. So here we go. First, in Dreamweaver, I'm just going to start a new document, and everything's going to happen within the body tags here. Now, the very first element that we're going to create is the container. There's going to be a div that just contains everything right here, and it's going to center it, okay? So we'll call that, oops. And there you go. That's how you make a div. It's pretty simple. And basically it's just going to be one big block, and we'll specify that in part 5 with CSS. Alright, so next part is going to be this menu up here, these links. Alright, so we do that with an unordered list. So it would be UL, and we're going to give it an ID equals top left nav, oops, close it, and then each link is li, very simple, and then the actual link anchor here, and then we could put in whatever, doesn't really matter at this point, and then we'll do that 3 more times because there was 4 links up there. Alright, and then directly to the right of it we have this little menu, and since it's styled differently and it's going to be right aligned, we're going to give that an entirely separate, actually we just take this text right here, copy and paste it, and then we'll change the ID to top right, and then the ID is what we reference in I have to burp in CSS. So let's take these 2 out. Alright, now let me zoom back out here. Now if you remember, if you followed along during the other tutorials, when I did the first one, when I did this, I noted that this will be its own div, this little line right here. So here's what the HTML will look like for that. First, I have experience with this, and we're gonna need to clear the next element probably from both of these unordered lists, and you'll see what I mean later. But I just use a standard class for that. I just use div class equals clear, and you'll see what I mean. I'll explain that further. So now we can start with that orange line. Div ID equals orange line, and then just close it out immediately because there's no content within it. Now, one thing to note here is you'll see I'm using IDs and I'm also using classes. Well, an ID is anything that's unique because we're not going to have this anywhere else in the design, and we're not going to have this navigation anywhere else in the design. Now, I use the class for the clear because I'm going to use that several times, the specific div right here with throughout the design. Alright, so anything that's unique, it shows up only once, is an ID. Otherwise it's a class. Alright, so next we have the logo. Actually no, next we have this whole portion right here. Notice the background that we have here. This is all going to be one div right here. It's going to be structured and exactly like this. So we'll call this div ID equals header, and then within it we will have, first we have what shows up here is the logo. So you do that. I usually just use P, the paragraph tag, class, no, not class because we're not going to do that, PID equals logo, and then we're going to have that a link so people can hover over, you know, the actual website name and go back to the home page. And then the name, usually within the anchor, you want the anchor text to be whatever the name of the site is generally. So we'll just call this free WordPress theme, and then close out those tags. And then the next element is the subscribe by email part, and then we have the or, and then we have this right here. So let's see here. First I have to think if I want to structure them in their own divs here. Yeah, I'm going to have a div just for this, and then the actual form HTML inside of it. This is an image itself, which I remember cutting up in the last tutorial. Alright, so is this. Okay, so let's see here. We'll have this be div ID equals form container. The HTML will go in here. And then we have that or, div ID equals or, and div ID, actually no, for the RSS icon, we're going to make that a P paragraph tag there, which is going to be P ID equals RSS, ahref equals this, submit via our RSS, and then close them out. I'm going to worry about the form HTML a little bit later here. Okay, so alright, so now we have this. But first, before we do this part, you can see this is basically a two-column layout. We have the very left content, and then this right here. So we're going to start first by defining the left and right divs here. Content left, and then just underneath it, div ID equals content right. Alright, so we'll start with content left, everything that goes inside of that. And the first thing that goes inside of it is this we design stuff thing. And then we're gonna use a paragraph tag for that as well. No, actually we're gonna use the H1 tag. You know, it goes all the way from H1 to H6, and basically those are for titles or anything of any type of caption / title, and H1 is the most important, and so that's what we'll use for this one. H1, and then we design stuff. Really, you can put whatever text you want inside of it, because we're going to hide the text with CSS, the actual HTML text. So we design stuff. Oops. And then next will be this part, this whole portion right here. So how we'll do that is by first starting off with this. This is going to be put in with WordPress, this specific image here. So I'm just going to assume it's going to be an IMG tag. So IMG source equals, I'll just put nothing there for now. And then we're going to have a class, because we're going to have multiple news stories there. So it's not going to be an ID this time. Equals news IMG. Alright, and then we have all the information to the right of that, and we're going to give that everything its own div right here. So it's going to be div ID equals news container, right? Close it out, and then inside of it we'll have each of those specific elements. We designed work at play. Okay, well, that's going to be a paragraph tag, class. Everything's going to be class within here because it's going to repeat if you have multiple stories on the home page. Equals news title, and then we designed work at play. Next one is author and date. Gary Simon. P class equals state. Then we have the actual content. News content. I'll just copy and paste that stuff real quick. Actually, what I do that? Let me see here. Okay, and then we have a couple things beneath it. Which is, actually no, just a view full article. We could probably, if you wanted to, put the comments over here too, the number of comments, which might be a good idea. But view full article, which is p class equals view full article. You can name it whatever you want really, but it just makes it easier to reference in CSS. So notice, I wrap how I'm doing this. You'll get the hang of it, so I really don't want to bother explaining it. You'll see it all come together once we do the CSS part, which is going to be the next tutorial. All right. Okay, so that takes care of. Oh, I'm also going to do. Let's see here. I'm also going to put div class equals clear, like I did at the top there, right here. All right, so basically it starts right here. This is what I just selected, the news image and this news content, container, right, is all of this, all the HTML coding for right here. So what we'll do is paste that 3 times, copy and paste it. So copied, and then now paste. One more time. Okay. All right. Now that takes care of. No, it doesn't. We have this older posting right here. So all I have to do at the very bottom of the third one is put p class equals older or newer, because if you're on page 2, then it might say newer posts. All right, so that takes care of the left content container. Now it's the right one we have to worry about, and this is going to be the social media icons and all that stuff. So social networking icons, I mean. So we have this add us text. I don't even think this is necessary, the whole add us thing. I'm not even sure if I want to add it. So we're just going to take care of these 3 right here. I think people get the idea. So Twitter. We'll do the first one right there, which is, I'll do p class equals Twitter. Actually, no, PID, because it's only showing up once. We could just put add us on Twitter. Now this add us on Twitter text, like I mentioned before, the HTML text is going to be hidden. with CSS using text align, or text indent, I mean. Alright, and then we'll just copy this real quick. Twitter, what was the next one? Facebook and MySpace, okay. Okay. And then now, we have this container right here. And this orange thing at the orange line at the top, that'll be a border. We'll do that with CSS, so we don't have to mess with any images. So we'll call this right side. Alright, and then we have these container elements right here. And let's see here. Now notice this background, we'll do that with CSS as well, and that's just going to be applied as a background on the right side ID. But to get started here, we'll have we'll just do one of these here. That was my phone. Okay, so categories. Class equals title text. And then each of these are, this is a menu here, and these are unordered. Now if you wanted to ordered list, then it would be, the tag would be OL instead of UL, but these are pretty much unordered. So now we don't have to give this tag any type of ID or a class, because we can reference it directly by right side. Any type of UL tag showing up here, as you can see, is exactly structured the same. So you'll see what I mean, though, if you're confused in the fifth tutorial, which is going to be the next one. I'm blabbering. Okay, so let's close that out. Li equals nothing, href blah, because it's a link. Alright, and then just copy and paste that a bunch of times. Oops. Now, one thing that I didn't do is, if we weren't coding for WordPress, what I would do is have, well, basically you just have two columns, and that's what WordPress does anyhow. So what I'll do is we have to separate each of these into two different columns here. So we'll do just above here, div ID equals right side left, because it's going to be the left column. Let me just indent everything that's within that one. And then div ID equals right side right. And that'll be the right portion. And it's just the same structure inside there. Like this one has two, I think, though. Alright, so that takes care of all this HTML. The only thing we have to worry about here is just this line. Actually, this line could be a border bottom in CSS of our main container div. Though I'm not sure if I want to do that, because then this text wouldn't be within that container. So what I can do is just, let's see here, where are we at? It gets confusing with all these closing containers down here. This is for right side right, this is for right menu. No. This is the main container. Okay. For that line, div ID equals, actually we'll make that a class in case we need to use it multiple times, like a divider. Div class equals divider. Just close it out. And then we have this text right here. And really, I'm not going to worry so much about even making this text. Reason being, WordPress will already have stuff down there, so we don't have to waste our time with it. So we'll see what we need to do when that time comes. So now we have to do this form HTML that I wanted to do at the last point. So let's go up here. Right here, okay. Let's hit OK here. Now let's see here. All we basically have is just this text box and the go button. So let me do this here. Subscribe. It does have an initial value, which is subscribe via email. Now name type, no, it doesn't have a class, so we'll give it a class equals text field, and then let's see here. Let me save this real quick. Let's see here. Actually, yeah, episode 10 has it. HTML. See, this says index.php. Insert form here. Let's see, image field. The image field is going to be our actual submit here. It was go button. There we go. Hit OK. What the hell happened? That's weird. Oh, that's why it's over here. Okay. And this is the code here for the actual go button. The class isn't text field though, it's actually go button. Oh man, I just messed this coding all up. I just noticed that. Let me try that again. There we go. Alright. So this class is and we'll probably add other stuff to this here, but we don't need to. I'm not even gonna bother with it right now. So and that is it. And if you want to see what it looks like unstructured with CSS, this is what the web page looks like. Yeah, it looks nothing like it, doesn't it? Well, that's why CSS does all the magic, and that's what we'll handle in the next tutorial. And that's all it really is. Now I'll go ahead and make this source available. Free theme video tutorial. That'll be the title. Alright. Yeah, I'll go ahead and make this text right here, the code, exactly as you see it, available beneath this video, so you can check it out. And I will probably have to change a couple things here when I actually go to do the CSS, but you'll see how that's done. Alright, see ya.